A shocking text, a familiar nightmare, and a woman staring down her trauma in a courtroom packed with silence. As Diddy's trial enters its sixth week, the explosive testimony of a former girlfriend is shaking the case to its core. Inicios. A Manhattan courtroom on June 9th, a woman identified only as Jane, who had an on and off relationship with Sean Diddy Combs from 2021 to 2024, entered her third day of testimony. But this wasn't just courtroom drama, it was a window into a disturbing double life. What began, according to Jane, as a one-time encounter in a hotel escalated into a pattern, weekly or bi-weekly hotel nights, where she alleges Combs pressured her into intimate acts with multiple men across marathon sessions lasting days. In a heart-wrenching message shown in court, she wrote, "I don't want to be used and locked in a room to fulfill your fantasies. I'm not APORN star, I'm not an animal, but it wasn't just the physical toll." Jane says the emotional manipulation was just as calculated and terrifyingly familiar when Cassie's lawsuit hit the headlines. Jane testified that when she read Cassie Ventura's lawsuit in November 2023, it felt like reading pages torn from her own diary. It was eerie. I was shocked. 3 pages described my exact story. I couldn't sleep. It felt like reliving a nightmare I didn't write, Jane said through tears. She texted Combs confused and shaken. "What is this?" she asked. He allegedly played dumb, even as her sense of déjà vu grew deeper. Jane's texts tell the story of a woman trying to escape. One message from October 2023 reads, "I need a break. I don't want to be part of this toxic cycle." She described being ignored, insulted, and manipulated. After Combs sent a message about a supposed health issue, Jane visited him again. That night, she said he grew impatient and hurled a degrading insult at her. Later, she asked him to help with her expenses. He didn't respond. In her words, "You're making me feel crazy, like I was used. I feel violated," Combs replied, dismissively, calling her crazy for real and reminding her that nobody has to do anything they don't want to. But Jane said the subtext was clear. If she stopped, the support would too. Jane said Combs paid her rent and made her feel like she had to earn it. In court, she testified, "He bought me a house, and that made me feel like I owed him." For everything, in a particularly tense exchange from September 2023, the same day Combs received a ceremonial key to New York City, Jane messaged him lovingly about visiting. His response? A demand for videos of her being bad. When she resisted, he allegedly replied, "Just do what I say. Don't say no to me." Jane testified that on a trip to New York, she was surprised with yet another hotel event, this time involving drugs and a new escort. She claims Combs gave her an ecstasy pill, and that she later tested positive for COVID-19. "Yes, he gave me COVID," she told the court, adding that she had to return to Los Angeles alone to recover. Her text messages grew darker. "I'm tired. It's been 3 years of this. Strangers, drugs, no sleep. I'm done." The courtroom went silent when Jane dropped a final bombshell. She still lives in the same house Combs once paid for, and still does. Her words, her tears, and her texts may now be the strongest evidence in a case that's as much about power as it is about justice. The jury heard audio of a phone call from Combs to Jane, placed just 4 days after Cassie's lawsuit went public. Federal prosecutors say the recording came from the phone of Combs' former chief of staff, seized at a Miami airport. Jane testified. She had no idea the call was being recorded. In the call, Combs pleaded, "This is when I need you to be there for me. You know we did all that stuff together." Jane, distressed, cut in, "Who's there for me when I have these thoughts in my head? I feel so manipulated. What do I even do with that?" Combs tried to steer the conversation away. "Let's just get through this together." But Jane pressed on, starting to say, "It's just crazy that I was saying all this." Then Combs interrupted, "I don't want to go down that road." Only 22 minutes later, another call. The jury listened. "I need your friendship right now." Combs is heard saying, "I can't talk on the phone. Please, don't send any more texts." His voice more desperate now. "I need you. I need your friendship." Jane began to speak again. "That was so—" But Combs cut her off. "I just needed to say that. You don't have to worry about anything else. You feel me?" Jane testified. She understood this to mean her rent, which Combs had been covering. The call ended with one last request. "Please pray for me. I need your friendship." She says it always started the same way. Attention, affection, and then pressure. What Jane described in court wasn't just emotional manipulation, it was a pattern, and it led to one of the darkest nights of her life. In her emotional, testimony, a former girlfriend of Sean Combs, told the court there was a routine to his alleged behavior whenever he wanted her to engage in sexual encounters with other men. Whenever he wanted one of those nights, Jane said, the love bombing and the persistency would start. The jury was shown a text message from Combs that read, "I want to see you. We don't have to have sex." But Jane wasn't convinced. Her reply was shown to the court. "You take the love out of us. It's clear what you want me for. You're just love bombing me to get what you want. It's not genuine. I've hit a mental and spiritual wall." Then came a chilling line. "I'm not trying to sleep with strangers to fulfill your fantasies." Combs responded, "You got it all wrong." Jane replied, "You talk to me like I'm a piece of meat, like anyone can use me." Combs next. Message, "You're crazy." Prosecutor Maureen Comey asked Jane if he had called her that before. "Very often," she answered. In court, more messages were revealed. Combs texted, "When do I talk to you, crazy?" Jane fired back, "You want me to do the degrading stuff? No, while you jet off to islands with your girlfriends Gina and Young. You want me to do the dirty work? Alone in a hotel room?" Then, hours later, Combs sent Jane a screenshot of a conversation with his doctor about needing surgery. It came with a message. "I'm so stressed. Too much going on. And on top of that, I'm frustrated. SMH." Jane testified that she later ended up in a hotel room that night, where she had sex with 3 different male escorts. Prosecutor Comey asked for names. "Rico or Michael? Whatever his name was," Jane answered. "Paul. Anton." Between 2 of the encounters, Jane said she threw up in the bathroom. "I told Sean I just vomited," she testified. "He looked at me and said, 'Good, you'll feel better now. Let's go.'" She then testified she had sex with Anton again, shortly afterward. "How did you feel at the end of that night?" Comey asked. "Absolutely terrible." The next day, Jane testified that she asked Combs for money to finish, furnishing her home. She had gone into debt and said Combs had promised her anything you need. But what she got in return was a voice message, played for the jury. "I'm telling you, leave me alone." Later, Jane sent a final text. "You've been threatening me with the roof over my head ever since I got here." Jane is following in the footsteps of Mia, a former employee of Combs who has accused the rapper of assault and also testified under a pseudonym. On June 6th, Jane's legal counsel spoke to the judge about various media outlets, YouTube and Instagram accounts that have publicized her identity. Mia met the same fate. As her testimony wrapped June 2nd, several outlets published her real name online, a practice generally avoided by newspapers and magazines at the urging of the courts. Prosecutors also alerted the judge that an individual inside the courtroom had broadcast the proceedings using Mia's name and later outing her again on his YouTube channel. The person was banned from the courtroom. Before jurors returned from a lunch break on June 5th, the gray-bearded hip-hop mogul turned to face courtroom sketch artist Jane Rosenberg in the first row to make an unusual request. "Soften me up a bit. You're making me look like a koala bear," Combs said, according to Rosenberg. Combs' trial is expected to last for approximately 8 weeks in total. Judge Aaron Subramanian, who's presiding over the sex crimes trial in New York, has said he's hopeful proceedings will wrap up by the July 4th holiday.